I'm always walking after midnight, searching for you. Patsy Cline. This was her first big hit. I didn't learn about Patsy Cline until I was in my 20s. Where was I hiding my head? Anyway, this has some interesting challenges in it. So let's take a look at what makes this 4-chord song a little bit challenging. Sometimes you'll see this written out in other chord charts where it'll say like a half F and half G7. Well, let me explain, because that happens in this piece. I don't think that notation's the best, but let's talk about it, what's going on, and so that you can solve this problem and sound gorgeous when you perform it. So this problem occurs, and every time we sing the verse where it's, I'm always walking after midnight, searching for you. Our chord changes have been going along at very regular intervals of 4 beats. And then all of a sudden when we get to the F, like after midnight, searching, the midnight gets 2 beats and then searching gets 2 beats. And there is a chord change that happens, F and then G7. And so if you're going along and doing a 4-beat pattern, which is what I like to do with this, I like to do a chucking island strum. Well, we have to modify that to fit into 2 2-beat chunks. So let me show you how I approach this problem. And let's talk about the strumming in general with this piece. I get the cart before the horse. These are the chords that we need for this song. So just 4 chords. I'm sure you know them. My favorite pattern to use with this piece is an island strum with a chuck. Now, what's a chuck? A chuck is a percussion sound that you add to your... And I've got a link up here to my discussion about chucking. I'll quickly go over it here. What you're doing is I scrape my fingernails over the strings and I follow with the fleshy part of my hand afterwards. And so I'm going open, chuck, open, chuck. And sometimes I'll even hit my instrument, and that's perfectly okay. So if you're familiar with chuck, you want to move on. If not, you might want to spend a couple days chucking along and figuring it out using the link that I gave you up there, and then come back. So a chucking island strum, let's go over what that is. I take the island strum and I put the 2nd beat as a chuck. So if you're playing a C, you take the island strum down, down, up, up, down, up, and you modify it with a chuck on the 2nd downbeat. So you go down, chuck, up, down, down, up, down, 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 down. Kind of dirties up the sound, gives it a little bit more interest to it, and kind of fits this kind of gritty lyrics here. This gal is going out after midnight, walking, looking for somebody. Yeah, so something's off there. So adding the chuck to the island strum. But then we've got that problem with those 2 beats. So let's talk about how we solve that. What I do to solve this problem is I take the F and the G, oops, that wasn't an F and a G7, and I change it to the cowboy strum. F, 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 G7, like that. 2 beats on each one. To keep the flavor that I've got going with the chucking island strum is I go F, chuck, up, G7. Now that may take some practice, and you can certainly just do an island strum, regular, no chuck, and then add the cowboy strums. So in fact, let's practice it simplified like that. Here's our super slow practice. C, island strum, just regular, don't worry about the chuck. F, cowboy strum, G7, cowboy strum, and then back to a C on an island strum. 1, 2, here we go. Down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, let's do it again. Down, down, up, down, up, down, down. time. Now I'm going to add the chuck. Oh, 1, 2, and here we go. Down, chuck, up, down, chuck, up, down, 1, 2. Let's do that again. And down, up, down, up, down, chuck, up, down, 1 more time. And down, chuck, up, down, chuck, up, down. If you got it, fine. If not, here's a slow motion version of it. Oh, 1, 2, and here we go. Down, chuck, up, down, chuck, up, down. Another thing that I do is I modify the strum at the end of each verse. Sometimes I'll make it less active, sometimes I'll make it more active. It kind of just depends on how I feel. But for this chord chart, I simplified it. So we go after midnight, searching for you. G7, 2, 3, I'll walk for miles. And so there's a pickup into the next verse and into the bridge and all those. There's that pick. I walk for miles, and then you start your strum again. So just trying to keep it all interesting, because with just this one little instrument here, we don't have a bass drum, all those other things that kind of make for more interesting sounds. So we're just, we gotta use the tools we have. Okay. Hey, before we do this play along, make sure you like and subscribe, because that tells me you got some value out of it. That's, leave a comment, even better, because that gives me feedback instead of me just sitting here talking to my camera. Yeah. Okay. By the way, if you can think of a positive spin on why always walking after midnight searching for somebody is a good thing. Okay. Oh, here we go. And forgive me, I'm going to, pretend I'm Patsy Cline, even though I don't have the voice for it. Okay. Here we go. 1, 2, and ready, begin. All right. Well, let me know, because if you can put a spin on what does she say here? That you're searching the walking the highway at midnight is like saying I love you. I don't know. A little creepy, maybe. Put a positive spin on that for me, okay? Change that for me. All right. Until next time.